AS Meds has put forth proactive measures to protect our employees and help slow the spread of COVID-19. Social distancing measures are being enforced. All contact surfaces are being cleaned and disinfected on a regular basis throughout the workdays. We have placed sanitizer products throughout the facilities. All employees are required to wear gloves, masks, and lab coats as necessary. We now require all employees handling bulk and finished good products to wear gloves. As a reminder, employees are informed to stay at home if feeling any coronavirus symptoms, including fever, cough, and shortness of breath. Employees will receive notification as more information becomes available from local and federal authorities. How does COVID-19 spread? Although the pandemic possibly originated from humans exposed to infected animals, SARS-CoV-2, like other coronaviruses, spreads between people and cause COVID-19. The CDC acknowledges that at this time, there is no evidence that companion animals, including pets, can spread COVID-19 to people or that they might be a source of infection in the United States. According to the CDC, person-to-person transmission occurs during close, within 6 feet, contact with a person with COVID-19, primarily from respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs or sneezes. These droplets, particularly when aerosolized, can be deposited in the mouth, nose, or eyes of nearby people or be inhaled into the lungs. Airborne transmission from person to person over long distances, including as a result of evaporating droplets that leave behind infectious particles known as droplet nuclei, is believed to be unlikely. People can also become infected with SARS-CoV-2 by touching surfaces or objects contaminated with the virus and then touching their mouths, noses, or eyes. Current evidence suggests that novel coronavirus may remain viable for hours to days on a variety of surfaces. Frequent cleaning of visibly dirty and high-touch surfaces followed by disinfection can help prevent SARS-CoV-2 and other respiratory pathogens, or germs, from spreading in workplaces. Person-to-person spread is likely to continue to occur under current pandemic conditions. 1. Continuous hand washing and sanitizing is recommended to aid in the prevention of spreading the virus. 2. People should continue to wear masks when in public to aid in the prevention of spreading the virus. 3. People should remain 6 feet apart when possible to aid in the prevention of spreading the virus.
HR Basics is a series of short courses designed to highlight what you need to know about a particular human resource management topic. In today's HR Basics, we explore how to prevent and correct sexual harassment in the workplace. Sexual harassment is a form of unlawful sex discrimination that can occur in a variety of circumstances. Unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature constitute sexual harassment when this conduct explicitly or implicitly affects an individual's employment, unreasonably interferes with an individual's work performance, or creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. Sexual harassment is illegal. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act prohibits harassment of an employee based on race, color, sex, religion, or national origin. Harassment violates federal law if it involves discriminatory treatment. Federal law does not prohibit simple teasing, offhand comments, or isolated incidents that are not extremely serious. The conduct must be sufficiently frequent or severe to create hostile work environment or result in a tangible employment action such as hiring, firing, promotion, or demotion. As such, according to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or EEOC, there are 2 types of sexual harassment claims: quid pro quo and hostile work environment. The EEOC provides guidance on defining sexual harassment and establishing employer liability. Quid pro quo means this for that. In this context, it involves expressed or implied demands for sexual favors in exchange for some benefit, like a promotion or a pay increase, or to avoid some detriment, like a termination or demotion in the workplace. Quid pro quo harassment is perpetuated by someone who's in a position of power or authority over another, like a manager or supervisor over a subordinate. A clear example of quid pro quo harassment would be a supervisor threatening to fire an employee if he or she does not have sex with the supervisor. Hostile work environment harassment arises when speech or conduct is so severe and pervasive that it creates an intimidating or demeaning environment or situation that negatively affects a person's job performance. This type of harassment can be perpetuated by someone in the work environment, including a peer, supervisor, subordinate, vendor, customer, or contractor. Hostile work environment situations are not as easy to recognize given that an individual comment or occurrence may not be severe. Examples of conduct that might create a hostile work environment include inappropriate touching, sexual jokes or comments, repeated requests for dates, and a work environment where offensive pictures are displayed. Employers should develop strategies for preventing and correcting sexual harassment in the workplace. Whatever form it takes, prevention is the best tool to eliminate sexual harassment, and it must be a priority for the employer to step in and stop harassment when it happens. Prevention is the best tool to eliminate sexual harassment in the workplace. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission encourages employers to take certain steps necessary to prevent and correct harassment in the workplace. Let's take a look. The first step in preventing harassment is establishing a zero-tolerance policy. Clearly state that no form of harassment will be accepted at your workplace, including not only sexual harassment, but also harassment due to race, religion, ethnic background, age, or disability. Employers should establish, distribute to all employees, and enforce a policy prohibiting harassment and setting out a procedure for making complaints. Publish the policy in your handbook and post it predominantly in your organization through your intranet or website. Your policy should ensure employees that they will not suffer retaliation as a result of any complaint made in good faith. Retaliation is against the law.
Basic cGMPs, a basic overview of the U.S. FDA's regulations for regulatory compliance. Basic cGMPs. Remember, quality is the responsibility of everyone. Don't just make the product or do your job and leave it up to quality assurance to fix the problems. The regulations. cGMP stands for Current Good Manufacturing Practices. Always improving and changing, that is why they are called current. Regulations are a minimum that must be met. The regulations. cGMPs are listed in the CFR, Code of Federal Regulations, Part 210 and 211. Part 210 is definitions. Part 211 is basic instructions. Part 11 is electronic data. Organization and personnel. Shall have a quality unit with responsibility to reject or approve all material, procedures, and specifications. Everyone will have sufficient training, knowledge, and experience to do their job. Organization and personnel. Wear clean clothing, wear protective apparel to prevent contamination, practice good sanitation. If you are sick or have open lesions that would impact the drug, then you will be excluded from direct contact with the product. Buildings and facilities. Building will be adequately sized for proper storage of equipment and material. Operations will be performed in specific areas. Buildings and facilities. Raw materials will be placed in quarantine until tested. Rejected material will be separated. There will be adequate lighting. There will be adequate environmental controls. There will be air brakes on drains. Buildings and facilities. Sewage and trash will be stored and disposed of in a safe and sanitary manner. Adequate washing and toilet facilities will be available, including hot and cold water, soap, and single-service towels. Buildings and facilities. Building will be maintained in a clean and sanitary manner. There will be cleaning schedules with approved cleaning agents, SOPs on cleaning. Buildings in a good state of repair. Buildings and facilities. Buildings maintained pest and rodent-free. Written procedures and approved rodenticides, insecticides, and fungicides will not affect product. Equipment will be maintained in a good state of repair. Written schedule of maintenance will be cleaned. Written schedule of cleaning. Clean after each batch. Approved cleaning agents will not affect product. ID number on equipment. Control of raw materials received in quarantine, not used until released. Written procedures on receipt, handling, and sampling, stored off the floor. Each container marked with lot number, name, and status. Released, quarantined, rejected. Control of raw materials. Sampling. Shall be representative, maintain cleanliness, in approved area, prevent cross-contamination, containers marked showing samples taken. Production and process control. There will be written procedures. Document activities, batch record, logbooks, control contamination, cleanliness, tanks, paddles, piping, probes, etc. Keep organized. Production and process control. Reconciliation to be done. Make sure areas are cleared of other lot information, packaging, labeling, etc. prior to working with another lot. Double checks. Warehouse. It shall be clean, sections clearly identified, quarantined, released, rejected. Quarantine, yellow, released, green, rejected, red. First in, first out. Track inventory and sold lots, quantities to where. Laboratory. Will have specifications, standards, sampling plans, test procedures. Shall have a calibration and maintenance program, written with a time period for performance. Document all testing. Use logbooks. Laboratory. Tell supervisor if something goes wrong. Don't continue with testing if done improperly. Check results prior to discarding sample. Have second person check. Check acceptance values. Stability testing will be done. Reserved samples will be kept for final products over the period of expiration date. Documentation. Records will be maintained. Batch records, testing, investigations, training, maintenance, cleaning, almost everything. If it was not documented, then it did not happen. Written in ink. Documentation. Cross out with single line, initial and date. No whiteout. Don't use scrap paper. Change control on all documents. If changes are made, they have to be reviewed. Sign only what you performed or verified. Documentation. Write down correct date. Do not write down previous date, backdating. If you forgot to sign something on a previous date, correct the problem by writing, for example, performed on May 10th, 2012, written on May 12th, 2012.